Gets
Good morning. It's still morning for a few more minutes. We are Mahta Global. We're a team of diverse graduate students who all came together with a mutual passion for global health technology. And today what we're going to talk to you about is the problem of HIV/AIDS and a potential solution we have for that problem. So we all know that HIV/AIDS is a major killer here and throughout the world. By the end of this presentation alone, there's going to be 15 people who die from the disease, and about 7,000 people are diagnosed every day. So, and you can see on this map here that the majority of them are in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, you may not know this, but one solution to combating HIV transmission is male circumcision. It has been shown that male circumcision reduces the HIV transmission rate by up to 60%. And the World Health Organization most recently deemed male circumcision as the most efficacious biomedical solution to combating the HIV/AIDS transmission, the HIV transmission rate. Now, within male circumcision is traditional male circumcision, and this type of circumcision is performed by 60% of the circumcisions in Africa, and that is where the HIV rate is the highest. So, what is traditional male circumcision? It's a ceremony in which young boys who are to be circumcised go through a ceremony and a rite of passage into manhood. And it's different from clinical male circumcision, which is performed by a trained healthcare professional in a clinical setting. So therefore, that leads to complications with this procedure. There's about 30% of the traditional male circumcisions in which something goes wrong. There's complications such as excessive bleeding, infection, amputation, and even death. And this is a major problem that we've recognized, and this is a problem we're addressing here. So Mahta, we have developed a biomedical solution to this problem. This device here is called Circle Gel. It's going to be used in traditional circumcision ceremonies. So we saw that Maturu demonstrated their product, so can we have a volunteer to help demonstrate our product?
Gautam, please.
I'm very liberated emotionally, not
but in seriousness, our goals here with this product are to lower the global burden of disease by reducing these complications that occur in several of the traditional male circumcision ceremonies, and also in the long term to reduce the HIV transmission rate by these safe circumcisions. And our value proposition is that we're going to provide a low-cost and culturally appropriate tool that can be effectively integrated into these traditional ceremonies so that we can maintain the cultural practice.
So as Kelly mentioned, traditional male circumcision is primarily performed in sub-Saharan Africa. So we were wondering that how can we actually go and focus at that part of the world. Almost 2 years ago, one of the very well-known international organizations, Family Health International, performed a very thorough study on traditional male circumcision tradition and culture. We decided to partner with them, and we focused on Uganda, the country that actually this study was done. In Uganda, pretty much there are just 4 ethnic groups actually are performing traditional male circumcision, as are shown in the map here. So we thought, okay, who could be our customer groups, potential customer groups? So we are thinking of traditional cudders, parents of the boy who's going to be basically circumcised, is called candidate, as well as international and local NGOs are so far considered as our potential customers. Based on the numbers that we have, demographic of Uganda in these 4 ethnic groups, potential market that we have, the age between boys between age 6 to 20, is almost 500,000 that are not circumcised and must be circumcised in order to be considered as a man in this community. As I said, we partnered with Family Health International and traveled to Uganda last summer, and we hold several focus groups, interviewed and talked to traditional cudders, ethnic group leaders, and public health, local and national public health officials to understand the culture, tradition, as well as gaining the feedback on the design that we had. Since then, since we came back from Uganda, we have been talking to different public health opinion leaders around the world, from WHO to local NGOs here, to understand the landscape of medical device design for research-limited setting, as well as the feedback on actual design that we had. So here's the process of design evolution actually. So this was Defender, very first prototype that we had. Yes, so we took that to Uganda, and Defender was a name that was given actually by one of the traditional colors there because it defends the glands. The evolution that it went through, basically, we came up with Circogel. Circogel is a consists of a hard shell and a very, very soft rubber-like material around it, which acts like a condom. So the hard shell actually is going to protect the glands, and that rubber part is going to help gripping the device over the glands. And then after applying the device, the force is going to pull over it, and the cut is made. Okay. In terms of competitive landscape, there is no such a device, as far as we know, is used in traditional male circumcision. So we are the only one in the world, as far as we know, that works in traditional male circumcision design development. However, there are other methods that can be used as alternative for using our device for traditional male circumcision. One is if the local community doesn't just want to use our device, so they just want to go out and continue the tradition that they have. The good thing about that is they preserve the culture. However, the risks involved, as Kelly mentioned, are going to be very hard. In addition to that, you either not being circumcised, or clinical circumcision, or ABC, abstinence, being faithful, and condoms, and other alternatives that can be basically deemed as for our competition for Circogel. Just as a glance, so what we have thought of in terms of how are we going to sell the device, we have been thinking about Circogel being sold solely by itself or included in a kit, which has gauze and other products that can help the traditional cutters during the cutting ceremony. If we sell this Circogel directly to our customers, whether traditional cutters or any local NGOs, based on the market size we have, we believe we're going to have somewhere close to $700,000 profit margin. And if we sell it including into the kit, we're going to have somewhere close to $2 million as a profit margin for just Uganda market that we are looking at right now. So far, in terms of financing and revenue, we have secured the first phase of the Gates Grand Challenge Exploration Award. Last year, so far, we have worked on our project based on the award, $100,000 that we got. We have secured some more funding for this summer to go back to Uganda to perform more evaluation on the actual implementation of the device. And once we come back from Uganda in fall 2011, we are going to apply for the Gates Grand Challenge Award Phase 2 for the amount of $1 million, as well as other possible fundings to move forward.
So we're currently looking at 3 potential distribution options. The first being a direct model where we would supply local medical stores with the product. An alternative to that would be partnering with an NGO where they would be responsible for the purchase of the product, the distribution of the project, and creating a health awareness campaign to the local population. The third model is the Avon Lady model that we're intrigued by, because this is where we would be able to hire and empower local women to be our sales reps and really reach out to the end user and the customers to sell our product. In terms of manufacturing, so Circogel, as Amir talked about, is actually 2 parts. There's a plastic cap and as well as a rubber sleeve. So what we're more focused, they have 2 individual processes, but what we're going to be focusing on is whether we can manufacture the product in Uganda or in Africa. So we're going to do some research and some cost estimates to determine the feasibility of that and compare those cost estimates to what we could probably produce it in China or the US. So our operational cycle, so this is Mahta will primarily be focused on monitoring and expanding to new markets. We're going to be outsourcing our manufacturing and outsourcing our distribution. Where we really want to focus on is monitoring how the product is used and what are sort of the negative repercussions from that. And then with that information, go back to the drawing board and create new products. And secondly, what we want to do is, after going into Uganda, we want to expand to other countries where traditional male circumcision is very highly prevalent. So our key relationships, this is something we've been building over the last year. We have strong relationships within the UM design community, as well as innovators in design and experts in production and distribution. A lot of the knowledge that we've gained, we really hope to use and to use that knowledge to reach out to our customers. As Amir said, the customers aren't just circumcision cutters. We need support from the local community and national leaders, and we also need support from the Ministry of Health of each individual country that we enter, as well as public health organizations who can provide that necessary validation and buy-in for us. So in terms of the critical success factors and risks. In order to be successful, the most important thing is getting buy-in from the local community. They have to firmly believe that they want to use this product. And the risk to that is that if the product does cause harm or doesn't work properly, then they're not going to be interested in it, and it sort of collapses. Another critical factor is getting government support. Right now there's sort of a movement to move more toward clinical circumcision because it is more it's more effective. So we need to make sure that they are willing to support traditional circumcision, at least in the short term, probably 10 years, before there is a movement to phase traditional circumcision out. Another important factor is getting regulatory approval. It's important that we have the necessary validation and the gold stamp for our product so that we will get the necessary support. The risk is that we're not able to do that. And finally, we need to have the ability to expand into new markets. Our product is not very expensive, as Amir showed us, $2. And so the way we'll be able to achieve sustainability is through volume and not necessarily through margins. So looking back over the course of the semester, we utilize our time by surveying the global health technology landscape, understanding how it works and what are successful models. We finalized our design options with Circogel, and we've been planning extensively for the summer work. Moving forward, both me and Amir will be in Uganda this summer to continue our research. As you probably noticed, we threw a lot of options out there because we don't know the answers to them until we actually get to Uganda and start doing the necessary research. So we hope by the end of the summer to have a comprehensive business plan and a path to implementation that will be definitive in how we want to go about to commercialize the product. In the fall, with that information, we plan on applying to the Gates Foundation Phase 2 grant, and we hope that we'll continue the validation and we'll be able to start clinical trials. In terms of lessons learned, we've learned many things, but the most important thing as an entrepreneur is that you have to be flexible, and perhaps more flexible than this bowler here. And that's our presentation, and we're open to questions.